Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I've got a lot of fun DIY home decor crafts coming your way. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on Rustic Farmhouse home decor using mostly Dollar Tree supplies. So let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I'm using one of these long signs from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use this home word that I got at Walmart. It was like $1.47. One of these houses from Dollar Tree or any house that you might have, and some hearts. I'll use one heart, but it came from this little 24-piece, Valentine hearts from Dollar Tree. Now, if you don't have, this home, Hobby Lobby has these for like $1.29. Dollar Tree does have these in a 2-pack. I just really like the lowercase from the one from Walmart. Now, I cut this piece off of this sign, and it's about 7¼ inches. Really, all you need is something for a base that fits the bottom of your house. All right, so if you don't have any of these hearts and you have one of these houses, just take this heart off very carefully. You can reuse it. I am going to reuse that little rooftop piece, and I'm just using my heat tool here to get this off, and then my Cricut tool to get the heart off very gently. And then I've also found with the heat tool, it just kind of melts the glue under the fabric, and it actually makes it easy to kind of take this little rooftop piece off, just like this. It was really nice. So just kind of take your time, heat it up, heat that glue, and get these pieces off. And then I'm going to sand up that house a little bit and get that sticky off. You could just leave that fabric on there if you wanted. I'm going to use DIY chalk paint little black dress. I'm going to use Waverly wax mixed with water and a couple sheets of scrapbook paper. I'm going to use that Waverly wax mixed with water as a stain on my little rooftop here and on my home word. You could, of course, paint it any color you want. So yes, my theme today on all my pieces is quote-unquote home. So I thought that was kind of fun. So just staining up my woodward. Yeah, Walmart, has about 4 or 5 designs of different words that are all lowercase. So, and again, really inexpensive. So using my Debbie's Design Diary DIY Black Swan chalk paint here. Black Swan. White Swan is the other one I use. A little black dress chalk paint here. I always use White Swan, right? And little black dress, so why not combine the two? Anyway, just painting the house and the base that it's going to go on, and the heart, because I'm going to cover that heart, of course. And then off camera, I'm going to sand this up and distress it just a little bit. So using my scrapbook paper of choice here, I traced my house, and then I'm going to cut it out about 1/8 of an inch shorter all the way around. And the paper that you see here I end up later getting something on it, so I end up changing it, and you'll see that in a couple clips down the line. It's a different paper. So I've got it cut out. You can see the little bit of edging around the paper. Just kind of laid my rooftop on there. I'm doing the same with the heart. I traced it, and I'm cutting it about 1/4 of an inch here shorter all the way around. So you see that little perimeter of wood around the heart. For those of you new to my channel, I just like to do that. Now I'm marking where the little wood piece is going to go at the top, because I want to sew on my paper. And, I want to make sure I sew under the edge of where that rooftop's going to be. I like to sew on my papers, give it that little bit of country charm here. It's just a fun little, real subtle technique sometimes, depending on the thread. Like here, the thread pretty much kind of matches in, but it's there. You notice it up close. And it's really easy to sew on paper. I use a size 10 needle, and it comes out really well. This is what it looks like. Okay. Then I'm going to take the open end of my scissor blades. If you're not a sewer, this adds great texture. You just take that open end and scrape it along all the edges of your papers. Gives it a little bit of a rustic look here, and it allows the papers to kind of pop up off of your wood a little bit. And those of you that are new, I always like to cut my papers a little shorter all the way around so that you see that little bit of wood. Otherwise, why do we sit and paint it for? So this is a free printable I'll have on my blog for you. It'll be in a PDF in case you want to print it onto your paper first before you trace it onto your house. Or it'll be a PNG so you can use in your electronic cutting machines. You're just going to have to clean out the background and the insides of the letters. I can't quite get SVGs, but the PNGs seem to work. And it's going to fit like this. So you want to make sure that you place this so that your home doesn't quite cover it up. So, be aware of where you're placing your quote there. And I'm going to put the home at the bottom of the house and then the quote just a little bit up above it. And so you can see I've got that vinyl on there because I've cut mine out in vinyl. Then I'll go ahead and glue the paper to the heart and the paper to the house as well. Nice, easy project, but I think it looks cute. Coming up here, you'll probably see a little paper change on the house. And actually, though, I'm glad I kind of made a boo-boo because it makes it better. I like the paper better. Glued the heart onto the house, and now I'm going to use the Gorilla Glue here and glue that to my wood base. And then the next scene here, you will see the paper change. I really do like it better, so I'm glad I made a boo-boo. Anyway, I'm going to use my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue here to glue my homeward to the house, so that it's touching the base, but of course glued onto the house, and that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 2. For this project from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use 2 of these houses. And again, any 3 houses that you want to use. These are some new ones that came into our store. And then one of these, unfinished wood pieces from Dollar Tree that looks like a house, of course. And then one of these 12-inch thin wood slats from Dollar Tree as well. Now, also, I'm going to use from these Harvest Words, Dollar Tree, the Blessed out of the pack. And then I am going to use, this is like a thick wood heart from my supply, but you could use something like this from Dollar Tree, just something, a bigger heart that kind of fits the front of that house, whatever you want to use. A heart sticker if you want, whatever you'd like. And then I am coming in again with Debbie's Design Diary chalk paint, little black dress, and I'm just going to paint around the edges of everything. Of course, I'll be bringing in some scrapbook paper again. I think all of these turned out really cute. I decided to keep one, but it was really hard to kind of choose. But anyway, tried to make them all just a little bit different. Painting the slat board here, and then of course we'll go in and paint the other little houses. Now in the little houses, I'm going to paint around the back, of course, and then you'll see me all come in and do a little staining on the front. Little bit more painting to go just to show you I did in fact do this by hand. All right, we'll skip on to the next scene. So using that Waverly wax, mixed with water again, little thin paintbrush, just kind of coming in around the edges. Now you could totally leave it the color it is. It's got a nice, wood grain color on there. I just wanted mine a little bit darker tone. So just coming in and staining around those edges, of course, and you can see I've got it taped off. I don't worry about painting the inside, of course, because it's already black, the center of our little houses, and most of that's going to get covered up. You're not going to see barely a 1/16 of an edge around it anyway, because I know the black shades can be a little different, but it really doesn't matter. And I'll come in and do that little bit of staining. And then, of course, once I'm done, I've got everything all distressed up, sanded off camera. All right, bringing in some scrapbook paper. I've already pre-cut for each of my pieces, and you can see, again, I've cut it a little bit short all the way around. Going in with some brown tones here. Now for the little houses, this is going to be easy to see because I still have black paint on my fingers, but I just took a piece of typing paper and, mushed it along the edges here so that the little pattern would pop out. But look how well you can see it. So if you paint first, you'll have a nice edging to make your pattern piece with. Anyway, so I just press that along the edges, got that sharp crease, and then cut that out for my pattern. Okay, now I'm coming in, of course, and taking all my papers to my sewing machine once again. And once again, using a thread, a nice dark brown thread that kind of matches in the darker pieces. You'll see it a little bit better on this cardstock here. Again, taking my open end of scissor blades, distressing along those edges. It really does help those pieces of paper to pop up so they don't just sit so flush with the wood. It just gets that white inner core to kind of pop out, almost like you did a little shading around the edges. And then bringing in my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, I'm going to start gluing my papers on to all my pieces here. Perfect. Really like how this one turned out too. Again, I am using vinyl here. Of course, I have a PDF for you and a PNG file if you want to use it in your, electronic cutting machine. Again, with your PNG, you have to clean out the background in between the letters. If you want to cut it out in vinyl, there will be a link to my blog. All 3 projects will have this. You'll have a PDF and a PNG to choose from, okay? This one, of course, says Our Happy Place. I'm going to glue the big heart to the center of our main house here. And then I'm going to glue the blessed word kind of up and down along the right side of this house. And then I'm going to take some twine. We're going to come back to that middle house again. Just wrap a couple of times around the heart here. Give it a little bit of that kind of, farmhouse look. Glue my twine a little bit here so it doesn't try to slide down on me. And then I'll glue under the knot as well. Helps hold it in place. Perfect. It's always perfect, isn't it? It's because it comes from our creative minds. Whatever we make is perfect. It comes from our heart. All right, and then this is a little I Love Us tag. So these little stickers from Dollar Tree, they kind of pop up. You can see they're double layered. So the papers are kind of waxy, so it's really easy to kind of peel them apart. This was the top of that one. I'll do the same thing in the next project. Here's a thankful one because I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. But that's all I did is peel it apart, and I'm using the bottom layer sewed around it. And then I'm going to, distress around the edges with my scissors. I like these cute little farmhouse tags. And then I've got a couple of tiny beads and a button I'm going to use here. So I'll put 2 little tiny beads on each end of my twine tails here. I'll wait to tie the knot first because I'm not sure exactly how long I want them. And I'll go ahead and glue down my little sticker here. I had to place a little piece of cardboard underneath. I did that off camera to help kind of hold that sticker up. And then I'm going to add my little button because the sticker kind of kept falling down. I wanted it to be level underneath the heart. I'll show you how I did that in the next scene. And I'll go ahead and make a knot at the end of my beads here so that they don't fall off, and cut off the excess. Or in my next project, I'll show you, because I had to do that in my next project as well, add a little piece of cardboard underneath the sticker. Okay, and then I'm going to use the Gorilla Glue again, and I'm going to go ahead and glue these to the bottom base. I'm going to kind of put the 2, ones on the outside here, of course, slant them a little bit, and then put the center one in the center, because it's the center, and it goes in the center, and that's what I'm going to stick with. And once I get all of these glued on, you know it, that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 3. For this project, again, I'm bringing in 2 of these chunky boards. I love them because there's no paper on the front. It's just paint, and so it makes it so easy to reuse them. I've cut it down 1 to 12 inches and 1 to 10.5 inches. So if you don't have these, you could use these chunky slat boards from Dollar Tree. They're just a little bit shorter in height, but they would work. Okay, and then I'm bringing in again one of these plain wood pieces for a house. I'm bringing in these chalkboard tags. I'm going to use 3 of them together. I'm going to glue them together to make a nice thick heart. I'm going to use one of these family words from Walmart. Again, I believe they have family at Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Hurricane Gray. We're going to work some gray tones here. This is Debbie's Design Diary DIY chalk paint. It's vintage linen. It's kind of white with a gray tone. And then I mix the two together to kind of make a medium gray. So first off, thing we're going to do, taking that Beacon Fabric Tack glue, and we're going to glue all of these 3 hearts together. I didn't have any more really thick hearts, and so I wanted another thick heart. And you can see that heart was left over from another project. No worries, you're not going to see that part anyway. We're going to take the paper off later. And I'm going to just take some of these cute little clamps you can get at Dollar Tree and just clamp these together and let it set up for a couple of minutes. And then I'm going to come in and start painting pieces here. I do the medium gray on this one, and then I end up like, why did I even do a medium gray? Because I just didn't like the medium gray once I got the light and the dark grays painted. So I just went back over the medium gray with the dark gray. So really a dark and a light gray is all you need. I'll paint the 2 sign pieces in a darker gray. You can already see over to the left, I've kind of already darkened that up a little bit there, and they all match. Coming in with this darker gray here on the heart. And there comes the paper off. Told you we weren't going to need it. Perfect. And then with that light gray, I'm going to come in just over the top, painting it just real carefully so I don't have to paint around the sides, just over the top. I'm going to just leave that wood look around the edges. Sometimes I'll paint all around the sides and everything. I'm like, nope, don't feel like it. I'm out. So really slow, just making sure that I don't get any paint on the edges. I do a couple of coats here. Right, again, just showing you, of course, that I did it on this one, bringing in my sewing machine to sew on my papers. I cut some cardstock to fit the front of those long signs only, and of course the front of the house and the heart. I know, doesn't that one in the background look so cute sitting there? Look at that project we just finished. Here comes some really cute scrapbook paper for the front of our house. I do cardstock and scrapbook paper for the front of the house. I do like a double layer. And I'm going to come in with that vintage linen paint. You can see what it looks like all sewn and distressed around the edges with the scissor, watered down linen paint, and my fan brush. Tap off the excess and then tap my fan brush and just get some splatters onto my cardstock and my papers here. Very lightly seen on the papers, but I know it's there. Here's what everything looks like all distressed. Went ahead and distressed that off camera. And then we'll go ahead and start gluing our papers down. Similar technique in all the projects, right? And similar pieces that we use, but every single project looks different, and that's what I think is kind of fun. Even though you use the same pieces and things, it can totally, of course, look different. Again, bringing in these stickers, I'm using the This Is Us one. I sewed around it. I'm going to distress around the edges. Perfect. And of course, here is your PDF and or PNG. So, you know, your PDF, print it out onto your cardstock first and then cut your cardstock to fit your signs. Nice and easy. Do that on any project. I used to do that all the time. I've said this before, but, you know, I used to do that all the time before I got, you know, a cutting machine. And of course, if you want to do it in vinyl, your PNG, you're going to clean it out first and it should work just fine. Little slow on taking your... I get questions on this all the time. The transfer paper, 99.9% of the time, does not tear my papers because Cricut transfer tape is a really light tack, and if you just go really slow and just kind of a little bit of a zigzag as you're pulling it, shouldn't tear your paper. The 1% that I might tear my paper, I'll just kind of distress around the edges and make it look like I meant to do that. Do a little distressing along here and there on the papers and make it, you know, fit in with the project. Or if it's really bad, I'll redo it. But there you go. Once that quote's on there, we're going to go ahead and glue these onto our signs. Perfect. I like this one, all the gray tones. I think that's kind of fun, different color. Glue our heart onto the front of our house, just like we did in the other one. And then I have a little wood tag on my supply, and I just decided to add this at the end here, and I've got a little piece of paper I cut to fit that. You could cut it just out of a piece of cardboard or out of like a piece of foam board. And then I'm going to glue my little quote onto the center of that wood tag. And now I've got, this is just some natural hemp cord I get at Walmart. A couple of beads here. I'm going to just wrap this around a couple of times here. I like this hemp cord because, you know, the colors are nice and the gray fit in perfectly. Do the same thing we did on the last one. Wrap a couple of times, tie a bow in the center. I'll go ahead and glue it down so it stays in place. Add my little bead, one on each side. It's a bigger bead. Figure out what length I need it, of course, and then tie off my cord here. And then cut off the excess. I'll have to do a little double knot here because the hole in the bead's quite big. I believe these beads came from Dollar Tree. I have so many beads, it's hard to keep track of what comes where, but we all know Dollar Tree has some great beads in now. Although I am trying to get my hands on those like checkered ones. I haven't seen those in our store. Cut that off. Perfect. Get that glued back on. Now I start to glue my wood tag on here and then realize it keeps kind of falling to the center because the knot of that bow, right? So this is what I did in the last one. Cut a little piece of cardboard here and you can just glue it, add a little glue on both sides right underneath and it'll level that tag out. That's all I did in the project number 2. And then I'm going to add a little bit of that string in between my buttons. I have a little gray button here from my supply. Added a little string in there. Same string we used for the bow on the house. Add that little button in. And then, of course, Gorilla Glue. I'll go ahead and glue this off camera, but I'm going to show you here. I'm going to kind of, you know, cattywampus everything. Cattywampus the signs, glue the house on top, the family. And that makes this project complete. So I hope you like all the projects we did today. I really love the idea of kind of using the similar pieces like I discussed earlier. They all kind of have the same theme, but each piece looks different. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project you would like to make, like which one, of course, was your favorite. Please, please, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel to grow. Share this video. And if you walked in here for the first time and you're just checking things out and you're digging what you saw today, make sure before you click off, you hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so that you don't miss out on another video from me. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. The question, is God always good? Let's look in Psalms 121, and everything I'm going to discuss today is in whole part of that psalm. Psalm 121 says, our true help and protection is only from God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. No matter what we are struggling through, it says God will guard and guide us, never letting us stumble or fall. No matter the severity of the situation, it says God is our keeper. He will never forget us or ignore us. It's understandable that sometimes we can't help but wonder where God is through all of this. It says Yahweh himself watches over us. He's always at our side to shelter us safely in his presence. He's protecting us from danger, both day and night. Sometimes we might even wonder, was this situation God's idea? It says he will keep us from every form of evil as he continuously watches over us. You see, we need to understand that God may allow things to happen, but the enemy never wins. God works everything together for good. He knits and weaves and creates a beautiful tapestry of hope for our life. We must know deep in the recesses of our heart, mind, and soul that, as Psalms 121 says, we will be guarded by him. We will be safe when we leave our home, and safely we will return. Through it all, we must realize without a doubt, and as many times as we have heard it, we can be certain that no matter what God has for us in this time and in this place, that he is the one who stands up for us. He is our shield, our protector. He is in all the moments of our life, accomplishing his will to make our lives more enriching, more better, more alive in him. He will not run. He will not turn away. His goodness always finishes first, and through it all we need to trust his judgment, no matter how difficult that may be at times. We must trust that he knows our breaking point. We must trust that he will bring us through it, not stop just before it. He will pull us to our feet when we were in tears or frustrated or angry or empty in spirit, depleted, hurt, and confused. He will make us stronger than ever to face a new dawn of hope. We must surrender our anxieties within the situation we are facing. Be still, listen, find grace, and realize that he alone is God. He is always good, and He will, as Psalms 121 says, always protect us, now and forevermore. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.